Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of How Media and Influencers Helped Trump Become the President of the United States in the 2024 election. 4. Trump on Theo Von Show. On another appearance, Theo Von, a super funny influencer, hosted former President Trump for a unique, down-to-earth conversation. Known for his candid and introspective interviews, Von brought out Trump's personal side, where he shared stories about his family, life lessons, and his stance on issues ranging from healthcare to border security. The episode started on a personal note, with Trump acknowledging his youngest son Barron's high school graduation and his fandom of Theo's show.
That's cool.
That's cool. That's where it is nowadays, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I can't believe that we're able to get platforms. And I started in my kitchen, and then just evolved out of there.
That's fantastic.
I mean, it's pretty.
This set a warm, relatable tone as Trump delved into his family life, sharing insights about his sons, Don Junior and Eric, and their mutual love for hunting and real estate. Transitioning into sports, Trump shared his admiration for the UFC and its president, Dana White.
Supposedly, he's a very disturbed guy, but he wasn't a bad shooter. And Eric, likewise, he loves the business, he loves real estate. Also very much of a hunter and understands a lot of things about that. They were sort of, as young guys, they were with their grandfather, and he would take them hunting in Czechoslovakia. And somehow they developed very well. And
Czechoslovakia,
yeah,
damn.
Can you imagine?
It's a lot of letters even.
That's a long time. Yeah. That's a name you don't hear too much anymore, but it was...
I'd need a scope just to get through the spelling of that word.
That's right,
I think,
a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's Don, and that's Eric.
Yeah, they're funny.
Oh, yeah.
They have a good sense of humor, too. Like, whenever I see them at UFC, it's like...
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just, like... The first time I was nervous, I think, and then after that, when I've seen them, it's like, it's fun to kind of cut up with them a little bit.
Yeah, well, they're good. They're good guys, and they really they get along great with the rest of the family. We all get along great. We have a good family, but I love UFC. You talk about a great guy. How about Dana White? Yeah. The job he does.
He
right?
recounted the excitement of attending events with White, particularly during the pandemic when the UFC continued to operate. This sports segment showcased Trump's passion for resilience and entertainment. The conversation turned more serious as Trump opened up about his late brother Fred's struggle with alcohol addiction.
He had an unbelievable personality, like an incredible personality.
What was his name, Donald?
His name was Fred Trump. And he had a problem with alcohol. He got addicted to it because they say alcohol is tougher than drugs to get off of. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I'm in recovery, actually. I've been in recovery, so like most of the last 10 years.
This personal story revealed the deep impact it had on Trump's life choices as he spoke candidly about his decision to avoid drinking and smoking entirely. Following his personal stance on addiction, Trump discussed the broader issue of the opioid epidemic, emphasizing the need for greater accountability in the pharmaceutical industry.
Does that make sense or not?
Yes, it does make sense. And we had committees, blue ribbon committees in certain cases, but committees that would meet. The big problem we have is, fentanyl is probably the biggest. Opioid is bad. Opioid is bad too.
Yeah.
I think that's bad because everyone thinks, in many cases, they think they're going to do away with pain. And literally, the time is so short.
He highlighted his efforts to enforce hospital price transparency, a policy aimed at providing patients with clear information about healthcare costs. Touching on the theme of corruption, Trump addressed the pervasive influence of lobbyists in Washington, particularly those in the pharmaceutical and legal sectors. He advocated for stronger regulations on lobbying to limit corruption and improve healthcare outcomes for everyday Americans.
That also, it all feeds into it.
Wait, hold on, just so I understand, Donald. Sorry. So that lobby is a very powerful one.
Yeah.
But why do those people want people to suffer, though? Just so they can make money?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it really has to do with money.
That's crazy. How much money do they need?
Probably start off by saying this is terrible, and then they eventually say, well...
But can we just, as a country, say, hey, how much... Okay, you need $3 million. We'll give you that. Fuck off.
Yeah.
We want to be healthy.
Yeah.
Like, can't we make a deal with those people
They're very tough to deal with, and they've been taken care of by drug companies and others for years. You know, you have politicians that have been for years being taken care of by people that make a lot of money, and they want to keep making a lot of money. And it is, I mean, in that case, it's not a power thing.
As the discussion drew to a close, Trump discussed his popularity and plans for the future, reaffirming his dedication to tackling key issues like healthcare and border security.
They are on the ground. And one of the things that we found out was a lot of times they keep arresting the same people because the people that are coming in illegally aren't being prosecuted. That's one of the biggest problems they were saying. What can we do differently to make things safe at the border? It's the fact that a father can't sleep at night because he doesn't know who's going through his yard or going through it. It's just not fair. It's not what you sign up for when you're an American. What are you going to do differently?
So the borders, well, I did it. We had the best border.
Oh, the wall, they should have kept it. I agree.
We had the wall built. We had more going to come long beyond what I promised. I built hundreds of miles of wall, and it worked. Walls work. You know, walls and wheels. I say it all the time. Two things, they never get obsolete.
5. All In Podcast with Tech Billionaires. In a rare meeting between politics and Silicon Valley, Trump joined the All In Podcast for a candid, no-holds-barred discussion. With the 4 hosts, each a billionaire tech leader, Trump tackled subjects at the core of today's economy and global challenges. The conversation kicked off with lighthearted banter on San Francisco's housing crisis, a familiar pain point for the tech giants. The hosts also recapped a recent fundraising event where each pledged $1 million in Bitcoin donations, setting the stage for Trump's take on economic policy and regulatory freedom.
Yeah, got to meet them for the first time at your house, and terrific. They did well. They might have started the whole thing. I don't know. I don't know if that court case was proper, but they were very nice, both of them.
Absolutely.
Really nice guys.
And I think maybe this is a good place to start in our conversation is, one of the things I think we heard a lot at that dinner was just the difficulty.
Diving into current business challenges, Trump and the hosts discussed the regulatory hurdles facing tech and crypto companies, along with the impact of rising interest rates on real estate.
The real estate guys, they can't get loans because the interest rates are through the roof and there's a credit crunch. So I think one of the common themes we just heard across that dinner was that it was just so hard to do business right now. And I guess maybe a good place to start would just be, what's the number one thing, or maybe the top 3 things that you would do to kind of get things moving again, if you're reelected?
So I'd say regulation, and taxes, okay? I gave the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, a lot to business. Took it down but as you know, companies were paying 40%, 45%, including state and city taxes in many cases. And we got it down to 21%. We'd like to get it down lower, actually, but we got it down, and the revenues were better than ever.
Trump emphasized his commitment to deregulation, contrasting his approach with the Biden administration's policies. The discussion took a sobering turn as Trump and the hosts tackled the intersection of crime, high taxes, and declining quality of life in major cities. They highlighted how issues like organized retail theft and limited police funding have eroded urban centers, especially in California and New York.
Physically, you can't survive there. And when you look at the kind of crime that we're talking about, and then they take the power away from the police can't do anything. If they do anything to stop it, they end up losing their pension, their house, their family. They end up losing everything. They get put in jail. And we're not talking about the rogue cops who do something really bad and should be taken care of badly.
On the economic front, Trump defended his tariffs as a strategy to balance trade with China and keep American manufacturing competitive. He also discussed his approach to managing federal spending, aiming to reduce the deficit by cutting bureaucratic waste and returning more power to states.
On the dollar, they're going like flies. If we ever lose that, that's the equivalent of losing a war. That would really make us third world. We have lost so many countries. I looked the other day. So Russia's gone. You take a look. Ukraine doesn't sort of exist in a sense. Nobody knows what's going on there. But when you look at China is essentially gone. They're trying to get out of it. They're a primary competitor.
Turning to tech, the hosts asked Trump about AI's impact on the future workforce and the energy demands that come with it. Trump voiced his support for nuclear energy, calling it essential for meeting the demands of an AI-driven economy without crippling energy costs.
On artificial weak energy that's not going to fire up our plants. Our plants have to be fired up. We have a phenomena coming up right now, and I was talking about it the other day to David, and that's AI. Little things, simple, two little simple letters, but it's big. And I realized the other day, more than anything, when we were at David's house and talking to a lot of geniuses from Silicon Valley and other places, they need electricity at levels that nobody's ever experienced before to be successful, to be a leader in AI. The amount of electricity that is like double what we have right now and even triple what we have right now.
Addressing immigration, Trump proposed reforms to increase H-1B visas for skilled workers and provide green cards for U.S.-educated graduates, supporting the tech sector's demand for talent while maintaining border security policies. The episode wrapped with the hosts
and brightest from the world. Every time we get somebody super intelligent from India or Europe, any country, that's
three of us are immigrants, sir.
Yeah, and 3 of the 4 here are immigrants, the ones with appetites. And we can get these great people into our country, and that's a loss for our adversaries and our competitors, and it's a gain for us. But I've never heard you talk about this. Can you please promise us you will give us more ability to import the best and brightest around the world to America?
I do promise, but I happen to agree. That's why I promise. Otherwise, I wouldn't promise. Let me just tell you that it's so sad when we lose people from Harvard, MIT, from the greatest schools, and lesser schools that are phenomenal schools also. And what I wanted to do, and I would have done this, but then we had to solve the COVID problem because that came in and, sort of dominated for a little while, as you perhaps know. But what I want to do and what I will do is you graduate from a college, I think you should get automatically as part of your diploma a green card to be able to stay in this country. And that includes junior colleges too. Anybody graduates from a college, you go in there for 2 years or 4 years. If you graduate or you get a doctorate degree from a college, you should be able to stay in this country. And you know more stories than I do, but I know of stories where people graduated from a top
thanking Trump for his insights on tech, policy, and growth, expressing hope for more political figures to join the show in the future.
It's layers of,
Of these two men, Trump or Biden, which one do you think is going to be more skeptical of big government spending? And which one is going to be more interested in being conducive to the private sector solving problems? I mean, to me, there's no comparison.
Well, which one do you think?
Obviously, Trump is all of his instincts are let's empower the private sector, let's cut regulations, let's make taxes reasonable, let's get the smartest people in the country, let's have peace deals, let's have growth.
What do you think, Friedman? I have heard conversations that there is an economic argument. I don't know if I buy it.
Each appearance wasn't just about pushing a campaign message. It was a masterclass in connecting with audiences in ways that traditional media simply can't.
It is a funeral for the mainstream media. It is a repudiation of what they said. Their megaphone is not there anymore.
In the end, this strategy wasn't just about reaching voters. It was about building trust and showing the real, unfiltered Trump. By leveraging influencers, Trump effectively bypassed legacy media, proving that in the digital age, the voices that matter most aren't necessarily on cable TV. They're online, where people are looking for authenticity. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on these exciting discussions.